Thinking about buying a new home, but you need to sell your current one first? You are not alone. This is one of the trickiest moves to pull off, and if you don't plan it right, you could end up stuck without a home or paying two mortgages at once. But don't worry. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to buy and sell a home at the same time in Connecticut without the stress. My name is Jason Boyce. I'm a local real estate agent here in Central and Eastern Connecticut, and I have a passion for fitness, real estate, and my dog, Holly. On this channel, we will cover everything you need to know about upsizing or downsizing in Connecticut. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so step one, we gotta know the market, right? Is it a buyer's market or is it a seller's market? How long are houses staying on the market? How long are they taking to sell? Are prices going up or down? Are buyers putting in multiple offers? How much are houses selling for over list price? All these things are going to play a role in how we develop our strategy. And I can't stress this enough, picking the right agent that really knows the market, knows your finances, and knows the best options for you is really going to help. So interview agents, and if they don't know the market, if they can't tell you how many days on market for properties in your area, what prices are doing, what percentage over list price houses are doing, then it might not be the right agent for you, and that's okay. But if you're doing one of the biggest transactions of your life that you're probably only doing 2 or 3 times in your life, you're really going to want to use the agent that has the best knowledge and is going to represent your best interest. Okay. So that aside, now why does all that stuff matter? Well, say like right now in Connecticut, we're in a seller's market and median days on market is around 7 to 12 days on market, depending on the town. So we know that if we list the house, it's gonna sell quickly as long as we price it right, market it right, all that stuff that a good agent does. But if houses are selling in 7 to 12 days, think of the other side. We have to buy in that same market. And if we're going to buy in that same market, what's driving it? In this current market, it's being driven by very low supply, but steady demand. And so we're often seeing multiple offers. Again, depending on where you live, houses are selling for between 2 to 5% over list price right now in Connecticut. So we're going to have to know that the buying part is going to be more difficult than the selling part. Now, your market could change. That's just what this market is. But that's why knowing the market and having a good agent that you can help give you that information is going to help you make a good decision, be informed, and create the best strategy for you. All right, step 2 is understanding your equity and your finances. Right? You're going to want to have an agent walk through your house, tell you realistically how much it could sell for. 2 caveats I have to point out here. Number 1, do not rely on Zillow. Zillow is a guideline. It can be up to 20% off. I've sold houses for $100,000 over this estimate. I've sold houses for $50,000 below this estimate. A lot of it is going to depend on the exact location, the lot, the condition of the house, the condition of the mechanicals. Zillow doesn't know any of that stuff. They just know ballparks for the area. So don't make budget decisions based on Zillow. Talk to a knowledgeable agent. Caveat number 1. Caveat number 2, make sure it's an agent that is giving you realistic information. They're giving you comps. They're showing you the comps. They're showing you how they came up with the information. I shouldn't say too many, but there are agents out there that'll sell you a pie in the sky number to get your business, knowing that they're going to have to price cut. And they don't care because they just want to sell you a number to get the business. So careful. Again, interview agents to make sure you pick the right one. Okay, enough about that. So you'll walk through with that agent, you'll find out what the house can sell for. Minus your expenses, a good budget number that I use for clients is 7% of the sale price. That should be enough to cover commissions, conveyance tax, and any closing costs to your attorney. And then you're going to subtract out whatever you owe remaining on your mortgage to figure out, hey, this is the number I'm going to get in my pocket and I'm going to walk away with. And if I'm upsizing or downsizing, I can use that to put towards the new house. And now in this section, one more thing we got to cover is we're going to talk about contingencies. So when you're buying and selling at the same time, there is a thing called the Hubbard clause. And there are two types of Hubbard clauses. There is a straight up Hubbard clause, which means my ability to buy my next house is contingent upon the sale of my existing house. Now, a regular Hubbard clause, there is no dates. The house that you're selling has not been listed yet. It's not under contract. You don't know when it will be listed, when it will go under contract, when it will close. It is extremely difficult in a seller's market to have an offer accepted with a Hubbard clause. This goes back to why knowing the market's important. In a buyer's market, it's a lot easier. But in a seller's market like we're in right now, almost impossible to get an offer accepted with a Hubbard clause. So we want to do everything we can to eliminate that. The next step is a Hubbard under contract, where you've already listed your house, you've already gotten an offer, accepted an offer, and there's a proposed closing date. So now if you're going to make an offer on the house you buy, it is more solid because my house is already listed, it's already under contract, and I have a proposed closing date, and you can share that information with the seller of the house that you are going to buy. It's a lot stronger. It's not as strong as someone that has nothing to sell, but way stronger than a regular Hubbard clause. So just want to cover that. It's something that will come up in the options. Now we want to look at our options. Do we want to sell first or do we want to buy first? Now, if we're going to sell first, the great thing about that is we're going to know exactly what we're going to walk away with. We're going to have a price, a contract. Now, the con is, depending on how we've structured it, you may have to rush to find the house you're going to buy. Or if you close on the sale of your house and you haven't found the house yet, you're going to need temporary housing. Now, if you decide that you're going to sell first, there's a couple ways you can handle it. You can list it subject to seller finding suitable replacement housing. That's an option we've done a lot, and that does protect you and give you some additional time to find the house you're going to buy. The downside of it is it could limit some buyers. Some people might not want to wait, they're in a rush, but it's going to be a small amount, especially in a seller's market. Maybe 15, 20% of buyers. So 80% of people are still going to be interested in your house if you're listing it subject to seller finding suitable replacement housing. What it does is, say you have a proposed closing date 60 days out or something like that, they can't force you to close because you have that clause protecting you that says, hey, the closing is subject to me finding replacement housing. What can happen though, if you do drag it out too long, is the buyer can just become frustrated and decide to back out of the contract. So careful. The other thing you can do is you can request a lease back. So you can list your house, get it under contract, and request you close, and then you lease that house back from the buyer, typically for whatever the new mortgage payment is, or something along those lines. Usually there's a specified period of time, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, something like that. So that gives you a little bit longer. Now that narrows your buyer pool even more though. So if you might have a little bit less people interested in subject to seller finding suitable replacement housing, you'll have even less people that want to do a lease back. However, it is an option, and it's one that we've executed in the past with clients depending on their financial situation. Remember, as you go through these, it's going to be different for everyone. It's going to depend on your timing, your finances, and how much equity you have. Now let's look at if we decide to buy first. Now, if we decide to buy first, there's no rush. We can take our time and find the perfect house for us, which is awesome. You could also find that house, buy it, move into it, get all your stuff out of the old house, and then prep the old house for sale. And you don't have to be there when there's showings and all that coordination going on. It can be a much smoother process with less headaches. The cons are you may have to carry 2 mortgages for a short period of time once you move into the new house, but before the other one sells. Currently, right now, it's almost March, end of February 2025. The two strategies that we're using the most right now in Connecticut are to buy first and then sell after. And there's a little trick to this where now if you decide to buy first, you will have to be able to qualify to carry two mortgages at the same time, and that's going to impact your debt to income ratio. But if you can qualify for, say, like a 5% down conventional mortgage, you use that and buy the house. You can take your time, find the perfect house that you want to either upsize to, downsize to, whatever you're doing. And people love that portion. Now, they've put 5% down, they've bought that house, and you want to, if you go this route, make sure you work with the proper lender that will allow you to do a recast. Because then when you go to sell your other house, if your lender doesn't allow you to recast, you have $100,000, $200,000, but what do you do with it? If you just put it towards the mortgage, well, your principal goes down, but your payment stays the same. So you're now paying that. If you upsize, it could be a higher payment, and that's no good. But if you have a lender that can recast, check this out. You buy the new house with that 5% down conventional mortgage. You sell your house, say you get $200,000 in equity. You then use that to put, or as much as you want, you don't have to use the whole thing, towards the principal on your new mortgage. So say your new mortgage is 500 grand, you put that 200 grand to it, they will recast your payment based on a $300,000 principal. Some lenders, make sure again you find this out in advance, will do a one-time recast with a small administrative fee, $150, $200. It's an awesome way to eliminate the stress of having to find a house right away and rushing. You can take your time and buy the house you want first, and you can still use all the equity to get that lower mortgage payment. This is my favorite option, but comes down to your financial situation. You have to be able to be in a financial position to qualify for those two mortgages, and maybe you make one or two double mortgage payments. But if you can do that, this is the best strategy out there. There's no Hubbard clause on your offer. You can do competitive offers to buy, and then you can still get that lower mortgage payment. It's a win-win if it works for you. Now, for people who don't have the finances to qualify to buy before you sell, what we've been doing is listing the house subject to seller finding suitable replacement housing and asking for a closing date 60 days out. The pertinent reason we ask for 60 days is because a lot of buyers are hesitant to go longer because their lender won't rate lock for anything more than 60 days, or if they do, they'll have to pay penalties. So the benefit of that is we have the subject to seller finding suitable replacement clause. We require that to be in the contract to protect our client. And then we list the house. We get it under contract, and now we have 30 to 45 days to go find them a new house. The downside of this is they have to rush, or they could potentially risk losing the buyer of the house that they're selling. And if you have the finances to buy first, you can eliminate this. But if you don't, this is the strategy that we've been using most for those people willing to tolerate it. I will say there is some risk involved, and you have to be willing to, once you get that house under contract, you gotta move to find your replacement housing. And for people that just don't have the risk tolerance for operating that way, listing to subject to seller finding a suitable replacement housing and feeling like they're going to be crammed and not be able to find the right house, but they don't have the finances to qualify for buying first and then selling, we always have the conversation around temporary housing, right? We can sell your house, look and hope to find it within the right time frame, but if we don't, we can line up an Airbnb, a hotel, or some people have friends and family that they can stay with temporarily. But the reason we do that is we really try to avoid the Hubbard clause. Right now in this competitive market, it is just so hard on the buy side to get a seller to accept an offer subject to selling your house, that we really do whatever we can to eliminate that Hubbard clause to put you in the most competitive position to buy the house that you want. So key takeaways, you're going to want to start with some research. You're going to want to know what's going on in your market. You're going to want to understand your finances, and then you're going to want to pick the strategy that best works for you. Now, your realtor should be sitting down with you to go through all your different options, look at your finances, and help you make the best decision for you. If your realtor is not well versed in what's going on in the market and they are not sitting down to go through your finances to help you make that decision, I can't stress this enough, it's not the right person for you. You really do want to interview agents to make sure that they're knowledgeable enough about the market, can help you through the financial options, and give you options with strategies that'll work for you. Now, if you have any comments or questions, please drop them below. I love to hear what people have to say. And if you know anyone looking to buy or sell that needs that free consultation, that's something we offer our clients all the time, where we'll sit down, go through their finances, go through the options, and help them make the best choice for you. All they got to do is share this with them, and we'll be more than happy to sit down with them to help them figure out what's best for their family. And also, please like, subscribe, and share this to anyone that you would think would find it helpful. Thanks for listening.